I'm David Berman, and I am the executive director of the Indiana Suicide Prevention Network, which is a subsidiary organization of Mental Health America of Indiana. Well, I actually did a QPR training, a question, persuade, refer training for a group of individuals on a Saturday in my office, and Dion Livingston, your regional VP, happened to be in the audience there, one of the trainees, came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, that was great. We want to get involved. What can we do?" And the conversation started, and it has exploded into today's Stop the Music event that I think we have 30 people or so that are going from station to station. And so it really just started with a training on how to recognize the warning signs of suicide and be aware of resources. So QPR, again, question, persuade, refer, is the most widely used gatekeeper suicide prevention training. And by gatekeeper, I mean that an individual who may be the very first person that encounters someone that is thinking of suicide. And it's a very simple training and concept. It teaches individuals how to ask the question, how to persuade someone to stay alive, and then refer them to resources. And what it boils down to is being a caring individual and engaging folks that look like they may be in some sort of emotional distress. Probably the most important thing that they should know is that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. We are all vulnerable, and that doesn't make us weak. We all go through stress, we go through trauma every day in our lives. And trauma means something different for every individual. One individual may lose a pet and be depressed and in bed for 2 weeks, and another is absolutely fine, but we all go through trauma, and we all go through stress, and we're all depressed at one point or another. And it's okay. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay not to be okay. It doesn't make you weak. There's lots of things. I am a two-time suicide attempt survivor, and I have bipolar disorder, and I exercise. I'm a runner. I can come home and be in a really bad mood, and a quarter of a mile in, the endorphins start to kick in, and it makes my world a totally different place. But find something that makes you happy. Read, run, exercise, watch your favorite TV show, hang out with your kids, take your dog for a walk, whatever it is that makes you happy. Find that thing and focus on it. Have something to look forward to. And I can't stress enough, again, physical activity, exercising is probably one of the best ways to alleviate any sort of mental health disparities, as you said. Not only from you're doing something and you're moving, but also from a biological and chemical standpoint, that all of the endorphins, again, and all of the different body chemistry disparities we may have start to self-regulate a little bit better when we're moving around and exercising. So there's two sides to that. I can tell you how social media is helping, and I can tell you how it's not helping. And if you'd like to hear both, I'm happy to do so. Let me start with how it's not helping. We are disconnected as a society, and especially our young people, but us as adults as well. We are disconnected. And if you go out to dinner and you look over at a table next to you where 5 people are sitting, quite often they'll all be on their cell phones rather than interacting with each other. And there are a lot of postings on social media that are just not real. and people get depressed because their life doesn't look like the fake life that's on social media, as well as the fact that validation in our society comes from likes more than us feeling validated by who we are and the things that we're doing. Bullying through social media or online bullying, it's easy to ruin the life of someone or make them feel horrific from 100 miles away or 1,000 miles away, whereas it used to be just our own little central group of folks. So it doesn't help in that sense. In another sense, though, there are individuals that don't feel comfortable talking to anyone in person. It's much easier to text something that is emotional and deep than it is to talk to them on the phone, much less actually have a conversation in person. And so there are text lines and chat lines for suicidal ideation, helplines. There's support groups that are computer-based or that are text-based or that are app-based. And there's a number of phenomenal apps out there. My3 is probably my favorite one, where you basically identify 3 people that are your main support group that when something happens, all you need to do is just press a button. You don't even have to dial a number. You just press a button and it'll reach out to one of those folks. And it's so much easier sometimes than making that call yourself, than talking to someone face to face, to be able to utilize technology. And so it gives another mechanism for folks who are feeling isolated, feeling alone, need that help, but don't feel comfortable doing it in person. If you or someone you know is thinking about suicide, there is a number of resources out there. Probably the first and foremost resource that we recommend is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-TALK. There's also text lines, as I said, and if you text IN as in Indiana to 741-741, that's another mechanism out there. There are a number of others that if you just Google suicide prevention or look on the in.gov suicide prevention webpage, there's a number of resources listed there as well.